All right, hey there. So, that was me and my son singing New Edition in the background. Hey y'all. I actually wasn't planning on going live tonight, but there's this thing that just like wants to come out, so I figure I'll just go ahead and let it do what it needs to do. What if you weren't a victim? What if there was no one who had done something? Hey Cal, what if there was no one who had done something to you? What would your conversations be like? What if he didn't do it and she didn't do it and they didn't do it and your parents didn't do it and your job didn't do it? Are most of your conversations centered around what someone has done to you? The reason why your life is the way it is because of someone else? Are most of your conversations powerless? Constantly concentrating on all of the things that were perpetrated against you? And what if you took 24 hours and decided that you weren't going to talk about anything that anyone did to you? You weren't going to mention what she didn't do, he didn't. You weren't going to talk about the mistakes your parents made. You weren't going to bitch about your boss. You weren't going to complain about your job. What would you talk about? Because so many of us, our conversations revolve around being a victim. Our conversations revolve around all the power that we've given away to some other person. Our kids. Time did it. I don't have any more time. I need more. We're a victim of everything. The traffic, the transit, the weather. And, I'm not talking about letting off some steam. I'm actually just wondering, can you think for a second about how your conversations would flow if someone said, "How's your day?" Someone you knew, right? And and instead of starting off with, what your kids did that didn't allow you to do something that you really wanted to do, or your crappy job that you can't stand that you don't want to go to, if your conversations weren't filled with complaints about your partners and how they did not meet your needs, what would you talk about? Even those of us who claim to be drama-free couldn't probably go 24 hours without creating some drama. We'd be bored to tears with the goodness. We'd be bored to tears with the responsibility of our life. We'd be bored to tears with the idea that we're not a victim of anyone else. How would you function, knowing that your life is your responsibility? What would you talk about, knowing that the choices that you have made have put you where you are? Now, no doubt, there are some of us who come from circumstances where at the onset, as children, we didn't have outward choice as to what was going on. There comes a time, though, in all of our lives where we reach a point where we can decide if the circumstances we came from are going to determine who we are, or if we are going to determine who we are. Okay, so he cheated on you. Okay, now what? You're going to carry that story with you for the rest of your life? Okay, so she left you. Now what? You're going to carry that story with you for the rest of your life? Is that the definition of who you are? Are you the definition of all of the painful events that have happened in your life? Is that how you're going to define your existence on this earth, as a victim of all of the negative things and I don't even want to call them negative. That's a judgment that we put on it. I have experienced sexual assault. It was an event that happened in my life, an event that took place. It does not define my existence on this planet, nor do I walk around using that as the badge that says, this is who I am and this is what made me. It was an event. Uncomfortable, painful, but I probably wouldn't be here speaking to you if not for it. And I know some of y'all don't want to hear that because you want to claim the victim badge so hard, because being the victim gives you a sense of moral superiority. If you're the victim, you're better than the perpetrator. But what would your life be like? What would be the possibilities if you decided that you were not going to spend your time talking about all the things that someone had done to you, all the things that had gone wrong? I think that's why so many of us like reality TV. We like reality TV for a couple of reasons. One, we get to feel morally superior, right? Because we're not those people. We're better than those people who are doing that thing for the money. But in our own lives, we're doing the same thing, just not on TV. I don't have my glasses on, so hey Dwayne. Hey there. Yeah. So I was sitting there and I've been typing out all this stuff, and this is the thing that I'm sitting here like, why, and I wanted to write it, but I couldn't write it. I had to come on and say it. What if you took 24 hours to not be the victim of your life? 24 hours to not be the victim of an ism. Take your pick. I don't care what ism it is. 24 hours to not be the victim of he, she, they who left you. 24 hours to not be the victim of parents who did not know and were only doing the best they could under their own human circumstances. 24 hours to not blame the system. And I'm not suggesting that the system does not exist, because it does. But does that also define you? What defines you? Because when you allow everything external to define who you are, you have no power in your life. You just have none. You are a walking piece of flesh. You're just walking. You're just breathing. And everybody else gets to decide what happens to you. Or are you a powerful human being? Like, are you a powerful human being? Do you decide what happens with your life? Do you decide how you're going to perceive yourself? Do you determine the decisions that you make? Or are you a puppet and somebody else is just pulling your strings until the day you decide to close your eyes and leave this world? 24 hours. See yourself as not a victim of something that someone has done to you. Whatever it is. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard. 24 hours of that. Excellent, Faith. Glad to hear it. Because you're all powerful. That's the thing. Each one of you is powerful, and none of you are here by accident. Each one of you is powerful. There are folks who have come from circumstances that could kill some of us. Don't know if I would have survived them. They did. They decided to use their power. Even if you're in prison, like literal prison, you still get to decide how powerful you are. Because it's here. Many of you are running around waiting until you, look, I've been on this kick in my own personal head where I'm having a real problem with the way religion, and in particular Christianity, is being presented. And I'm trying to not be judgmental about it, because I get it. And many of you are waiting until you die to somehow find some peace, living your whole entire lives in hell. Whole life in hell. Miserable. Upset. angry. I heard a woman on New Year's Eve on her phone as she walked past me talk about she was going into the new year angry. What the fuck? Why? I don't care what you're determined to do. If that's the best way that you can present your power, you're still powerless. Because you're allowing somebody to have that effect on you. And there's a difference between being apathetic and not caring at all, and choosing not to allow someone else to have an effect on the trajectory of your life. So it doesn't mean that you don't care. But what it means is that you're able to take in what's happening and not make it personal. Because guess what? And I know y'all might not want to hear this. Whatever happened to you isn't personal. It's really not even about you. That dude that cheated on you, it's not about you. It's really not. You just happen to be in the path of whatever it is he was experiencing and doing on this earth. That woman who left you, it wasn't about you. You just happened to be in a path of what she was doing, and she was in your path. Stop personalizing everything that happens. When you do that, then you become the victim. Then it's woe is me. These things are happening to me. If it wasn't for, then my life could be like. If this changed, then my life could be like. How about you just change it now? You start here. Then your actions follow. It might not change in 30 days. It might take you 6 months. It might take you 5 years. But why not just start? Even if you don't get to where you think you're supposed to be, when you look back 5 years from now, it won't be the same. 24 hours without what someone else did to you is the reason why you're where you are right now and who you are. 24 hours without blaming the systems, the isms, your parents, your partners, your ex-partners, your kids, your job. 24 hours. See what you have to talk about. See what you think about. I would be interested. I would love to know. Honestly, I would really love to know. And I'm not exempt from this. I was sitting here thinking about my own self too. 24 hours. Challenge. Let me know how it goes for you.